All right, Daniel, can you hear us?
I got you.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you being here. We will go ahead and go to questions. If you have a question, friendly reminder, raise your hand. We'll get to as many questions as we can. And to kick us off, we'll go to Lee Spencer.
Maybe.
All right, we'll go to John Newby.
Thank you. So, Daniel, I've asked a couple drivers this already, but I was curious with New Hampshire, the Roval, both being in the playoff schedule, one being a new track, one not having been in the schedule since 2017. What is the biggest challenge that all of the playoff drivers are going to face?
The Roval specifically?
Well, it's the Roval or New Hampshire, or I guess any other track in the upcoming.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like the drivers in general, and I'll kind of answer this question track specifically, but the Roval is a place that just not many have been to. Obviously, fortunately, I have been there a lot, but I don't necessarily know. There are little nuances that make that place kind of interesting and intriguing, even from the fans' perspective. And there are a handful of guys within the truck series now that have been there, but not a lot. Yeah, it just kind of has a different feel and race and racecraft to it than any other place we go to, especially road course wise. Yeah, and then Loudon. I didn't realize that a lot of guys in the series never race there either. There is some things that I think you can do all the simulation, all the prep, but until you run laps there, it don't truly quantify what that place is. But at the end of the day, speed creates a lot of opportunities. And if you have that, you can kind of go and explore in your short practices to be able to maximize all things at all those places. So I don't look forward to really shape or shake things up too much within the playoffs from contenders or people who aren't going to contend, but definitely some adapting that'll have to be done in order to have success.
Okay, and then just a quick follow-up. With your past experience at the Roval, especially after they reconfigured it, does that how does that help, heading into this upcoming Truck Series playoff schedule?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, just going to a place that a lot of guys don't have laps at is a bonus, no doubt. But with the reconfiguration last year and really getting that one race on it, I feel like it does level parts of the playing field. And then, the guys who haven't been there really, they don't know what they don't know yet. So there's no really preconceived notions of grip levels and so on and so forth. And sometimes that can be a good thing because you just don't know the limits and you just push everything. So yeah, I don't really try to look at it as I got an advantage at anything, but just look at it as a new opportunity and ready to rise to that.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, our next question will go to Holly Cade. Go ahead, Holly.
Thank you. Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Hope you are.
Good, thank you. Good. I wanted to ask you a little bit. You're one of two drivers in the truck championship this year to have won a NASCAR championship in one of the big series. And I just wondered, does that equip you maybe with something that your competition doesn't really have? Do you approach the playoffs differently? I would consider you a very chill guy anyway. So I mean the mindset, what does that do in terms of an advantage?
Uh, Gosh, I mean, I hate to say the same thing again, but I don't look at it necessarily as an advantage. Obviously, going through the playoffs multiple times now, is there something to that? I mean, yeah, obviously you've done it, but I also feel like the identity in which every year is its own is something that can't be lost. And I don't go into it thinking because I had past success, in past seasons, that means I might have future success going throughout this playoff. So, yeah, just trying to conform to race intensities of each individual race, each individual round, and what it takes to get to the next one. But yeah, doing it once is great, but have an opportunity to go and just experience this entire new, not new format, but new for me within the truck series, and what it'll take in these rounds. Yeah, just trying to conform to that and rise to the occasion of the opportunity that we have in front of us as a 19 group. And yeah, guys that haven't been in it, there is something different about all playoff sports. I don't care what sport it is. It's fun and a different atmosphere and a different feeling that I love and have always loved. And it's cool to be a part of another one.
Thank you, Daniel.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, our next question will go to Chris Murdoch. Go ahead, Chris.
Hey, Daniel. Earlier this year, we kind of talked the difference in the culture of the 19 crew and all the changes you guys made. How have you seen that evolve over the year, and what kind of mindset do you guys take into this playoffs?
You know, I'd like to sit here and tell you all that is ironed out. We know exactly what that is, and to be truthful, we don't. I mean, there was a lot that changed for McAnally-Hilgemann racing over the off season prior to me getting here, and so on and so forth. And yeah, I think we have been searching. We've been searching to truly nail down what that identity is. But I'll tell you, just from a bullet points perspective, like we find a way. When all else fails, we find a way, and that's really kind of the current thing I lean on here as we begin this playoff run. But there's things that we know that, you know, we know we have a lot of weak areas. We know we have some strengths that we really truly got to stay within throughout the rounds and the races. And the identity will kind of naturally take on, you know, its own characters. But yeah, for us, just trying to truly stay within what we know we are and what we are to this point, and try to continue to grow and develop and be better.
And secondly, there's only 2 tracks we go to in this playoffs where you guys have raced before, Martinsville being one of them. Not that you can sort of look past this first round because you have to tackle them differently, but if you get past this first round, do you approach that round of 8 with a different level of confidence, knowing how Martinsville went earlier this year?
You know, whether we're, you know, in it or not at that point, I think, yeah, we just go to that place with a lot of confidence in general. But as we've seen all year, the entire Truck Series garage, really all 3 series, is continuing to evolve, and guys that were good the last time doesn't mean you're gonna be good this time. But we go to there, really all the short tracks, you know, with an extra level. I feel like it's been a strength of ours, and just look forward to that opportunity. Like I said, hopefully it is within you know, that round of 8, and we can go punch a ticket and race for championship at Phoenix.
All right, our next question, we will go back to Lee Spencer. Go ahead, Lee.
Thank you. And thanks for joining us, Daniel. When you got that walk-off win to get the championship in 2021, what did you learn about just the perseverance to put you in the championship so you had a shot?
Yeah, that's a great question, Lee. I would say that throughout really NASCAR in general, since the playoffs started, right, I've been fortunate to be in that championship race, you know, 3 or 4 times. I can't remember the exact number, but point being is you can't determine, and we've heard this year after year, you cannot determine the success of your season based off whether or not you know, win a championship based off of Phoenix. An incredibly successful year is getting to Phoenix and letting the rest of it take care of itself. So yeah, many times throughout that championship run, once making it there, I made the comment that, you know, we were racing with house money, that nothing else mattered. And that's, to me, the way that race is. You get there with that opportunity. I can't even explain to y'all the weight, in my opinion, that is off of you, for you and your race team, your supporters and sponsors and everyone that's involved, because you've had and done a great deal of good stuff to get there, and it is house money. And whenever you have that lightness about you, I feel like you know, your pencil is sharper, if you will. The risks you take are always worth it. And at the end of the day, the dust settles. It's going to be what's going to be from a result standpoint. But having that freedom is a dangerous thing, and it's fun.
And the ability, or your experience rather, having been at the next 3 tracks, how does that help build the confidence as well?
You know, for me, I've just been fortunate to do this for quite some time now. And it's wild when I think about as long as I have been fortunate enough to do this already. And to answer your question, yeah, going to these racetracks, I have now got a lot of laps in a lot of different series. But, you know, it's also a bit of fun fact. I've never ran a truck at Darlington. So I am looking forward to that, and using some of the past laps I've made there in other series as I prep, you know, for the kickoff here at Darlington. And yeah, just look forward to, yeah, using some of that stuff and trying to adapt as well to what the truck's going to want and need there. And it's been fun just prepping and doing it at that next level like it takes within the playoffs.
Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you.
All right. Next, we will go to Claire B. Layne. Go ahead, Claire.
Thank you. You were talking about not having run a truck at Darlington. How would you assume that the truck would run differently than what you've driven there before? And translating it, how hard will it be? And will you even know that till you get there?
Yeah, it's kind of twofold because from what I've gathered, most guys who have actually raced trucks there have been the majority, yeah, they've practiced in the day, but they've raced at night. And that's not the case this go around, which is going to be fun. I mean, short of it being 90 degrees and, just slipping and sliding around like that, that's all you can ask for inside of a race car. And to go there, yes, the bodies will have an impact on, how much does it slide or really how well your front end or your rear tires got to hang on. Yeah, just a little nuances to make the trucks what they are with the momentum racing and lower RPMs with the engine package. But I think it's not by coincidence, though. You see guys, if you can find a way to get around there in one vehicle, that kind of translates, in my opinion, throughout other vehicles there. And I think you'll see that. And the day race, in my opinion, will just kind of separate the better trucks, drivers, and teams on that given day.
So Tyler Ankrum has learned a lot from you, and he is so
He's
young.
a good liar. Good
Yeah,
liar.
he's so young. And I said, well, you've gained, because I've talked with him about confidence over the years. You've gained so much confidence. I said, but you're only 24. I asked him if he felt that age, and he said basically that he felt like about 40, which would make you at 34 about 60 some in racing terminology. But you've always been mature for your age, right?
I appreciate that.
He really is watching you. He really, and all kidding aside, says he's learned a lot from the way you handle information and you do things. These young racers, we forget they're 22, 24 years old, right? And how hard do you think a championship at 24 based on experience, but also maturity for a guy like you racing it at 34?
Yeah, I think it's definitely different. And I'll rescind that. I think his prep in particular, I think he does a really, really good job with, and I think he has done a really good job being and taking in when he's been around more experienced guys over his prior years of understanding what good notes are and what bad notes are, and how he just comes prepared. And I think that's kudos to him for growing in that aspect. I feel like from what he probably would tell you he was back, say he's 24, but I feel like he's raced trucks for 10 years. But I think he's just come a long way on that side of it. And that's not necessarily something I had, thought would or wouldn't be the case. I just didn't know prior to being around him this season. So, yeah, it feels like he's done a good job of that. And yeah, I just feel like, yeah, I mean, obviously, just in general, right, with age, you do have different experiences and you've been through different seasons of life that some have yet to experience. Is it better or worse? I don't know. But I just think in general, it's naive if you don't take those experiences and learn from them, whether you've had a lot of them or a little bit of them. I'm thankful for the ones I've had, good and bad. I feel like they've shaped myself and every one of you I'm looking at, and what we do within the sport. And yeah, I don't take that for granted. So it's just fun to be a part of it, having a chance to make more experiences.
Good to see you again. Good luck. Okay.
Yeah, always. Thank you.
All right. I apologize because I'm not going to get to everyone's questions, but I will get in trouble if I don't keep Daniel on time here for Media Day. So Daniel, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, likewise. Thank y'all. Appreciate it.
And just a heads up, our next driver will be Grant Enfinger. And as soon as he's in the chair, we'll get started. Thank you, guys.
Hey, Amanda, got Grant here ready to go.
All right. Thank you, Ross. Hey, Grant, can you hear us okay?
I can.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. We will go ahead and go to questions from the media. If you have a question, go ahead and raise your hand. To kick us off, I will go with Chris Murdoch. Go ahead, Chris.
Hey Grant, thanks for taking some time today. You've made the championship for the past 2 years in a row. What have you sort of learned about yourself and what it takes to get to the championship for, and how do you sort of apply that to this year's playoffs?
Yeah, I mean that's a good question. When you get to that second round of the playoffs, especially, I feel like it's all about executing and really making the best decisions you can in the moment. I feel like there's certain times, especially in this first round of the playoffs, where you can kind of bank on trying to point your way through there. You're only beating or you're only competing with two other competitors. But in that second round of the playoffs, obviously, it's a little bit more difficult unless you're coming in there with the points that the Corey Heim has or something like that. It's hard to rely on pointing your way in. So feel like knowing when to be aggressive and when not to be is something that has served me well in the past. And also we have a lot of experience on our team with Jeff Stankiewicz and really all our core guys here this year are the same core guys that we made the championship for with last year. So yeah, we've got our work cut out for us. Feel like we have a lot to do with our trucks. But yeah, just from an execution standpoint and all of that, and our experience, I feel good about that.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, our next question will go to Scotty Powell. Go ahead, Scotty.
Sorry, I forgot to unmute my mic there. Hey, Grant, thanks for joining us. I look at you and you have a lot of experience at a lot of these tracks. Is there any particular tracks in general that you and CR7 Motorsports are looking forward to as you head off into the playoffs?
Yeah, I really look forward to Darlington. Anytime I have the opportunity to race there, I feel good about it. I haven't won there. Feel like I've been in contention to win there a couple of times. Feel like we had a Chevy that was capable of winning there last year. So hopefully we can build on that performance that we had last year and bring the same sort of piece with us this year. But I look forward to Darlington. But I'm also looking forward to getting to Loudon. We haven't been there in quite some time in the Truck Series. I've only been there one time, my rookie season in the Truck Series. So looking forward to that one as well.
I also have a follow-up here. You were able to be teammates with Matt Crafton, and the news of him coming out, retiring after this season. What are your thoughts or what are your memories with racing with Matt as a teammate and then as a competitor on the track?
Yeah, obviously we were teammates at ThorSport for 5 years. Yeah, I don't know the whole situation there and all that stuff, so I don't want to really speak into details that I don't know. But yeah, a great competitor on the track.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, our next question will go to Deb Williams. Go ahead, Deb.
Thank you. Thank you for your time, Grant. You mentioned about your experience in the playoffs and experience on the crew as being a strength. What do you see as the biggest challenge for you and the team going into the playoffs?
Say the biggest challenge is honestly something we experienced this past week at Richmond, but we've experienced it quite a few times this year. Is as far as just kind of not knowing the exact direction we need to go to make our Chevys better. I feel like we've had some performances, a handful of performances this year where we had speed, we had trucks that we could contend with, but quite a few times we haven't, and we haven't really been able to put our finger on why that is. So yeah, our strengths are definitely our organization, our crew, the guys on pit road. We have a lot of stuff in our corner, but there's been a number of instances this year that we unload with something we have a lot of confidence in and we get there and we're off and kind of chasing it a little bit. So yeah, that's our biggest challenge for sure.
Okay, thank you. Good luck in the playoffs.
Thank you.
All right, our next question will go to Claire B. Layne. Go ahead, Claire.
Thanks, Amanda. This is the 7th time that you've competed in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. And I'm wondering, since the beginning and through those 7 years that it competed in the championship, this is the 7th time that you've been in the Truck Series playoffs. How much has the racing changed this year, we've had conversations with you about the aggressiveness and whatnot. How is it this year? How do you expect it to be in the playoffs compared to when you started in the playoffs and the 7 times that you've made this attempt?
From the aggressiveness, I don't really see a change from last year to this year. I see it, relatively the same. We're all going crazy, all pushing it, probably, 1 or 2 numbers farther than we should in most instances, myself included. I'd say, Claire, the biggest thing I've noticed this year is the speed delta from the top 2 or 3 trucks, not just Corey, who's been obviously dominating the season, but really, I mean, this weekend at Richmond was a perfect example. I feel like he had the 98, the 11, the Layne rigs there. All 3 of those guys were 2-3 tenths better than 5th place. And in my history in the truck series, that hasn't really happened. You'll have somebody that hits it really good, and maybe they have a tenth or 2 on the field at a particular race, but seen quite a speed delta throughout the top 10 especially. So yeah, that's the biggest difference I can tell, Claire. I can't tell a big improvement or lack of that from how we're driving.
And so how do you race differently when the trucks are so close?
I think at the end of the day, you have to know when to push it to that next step and when not to. So hopefully I can rely on those 7 years in the playoffs and hopefully make the right decisions when it counts. And yeah, you have to know when if you have a bad pit stop or a bad sequence or you unload and you're not great, hey, when do we need to take what we can get, and when do we need to push for everything that we're worth and roll the dice here.
Good to see you. Thank you.
Thanks, Claire.
All right, our next question will go to Leonardo. Go ahead with your question.
Thank you. Grant, you're coming to this NASCAR playoffs with as a defending Truck Series champion. How different does the pressure changes compared when you're defending the title by chasing the first title?
I'm not defending the title, so I'm coming here. We made the championship 4 last year, so which was a big accomplishment for us. But yeah, unfortunately, we are not defending the title, Leonardo.
All right, our next question will go to Francisco.
Hi, Grant. Nice to meet you. I would like to ask you a little question about the consistency that you have shown during these past 18 races, if I remember correctly, of the Truck Series regular season. So do you think that with this close racing that you have talked to in the past questions, do you think that being consistent is the key to advance to playoffs nowadays?
I think it is very situational, and for us, in my opinion, being consistently good will get you into that second round of the playoffs. For the situation that we are in at CR7 Motorsports, that's not going to get us to the championship 4, and that's not going to win us a championship. But if we are consistently good, if we unload and we're in the ballpark at Darlington and we're in the ballpark at Bristol and Loudon, that should, in theory, get us to the second round of the playoffs. But that won't advance us further than that. We don't have a lot of playoff points to rely on. So we don't have that cushion going in. As well as you have 3 races in the second round of the playoffs and 4 guys get eliminated. I've been in the situation where there has been 3 winners in that second round, and so I think it's situational. I think that consistency can get us to the next round of the playoffs, but it cannot win us a championship.
But I would like to talk about the possibility of having a brand new Chevy for the last 7 rounds. Will it happen? Will you have a brand new Chevy for the last rounds of this season?
No, I mean, as of right now, we are not currently building a truck. There has been a lot of discussions here recently about whether we try something, maybe something that we've you know, if got some, maybe we don't have the proof that it's better, but maybe we have some thoughts that it's been better. We built two brand new trucks this year. We actually raced one of them this past week at Richmond. We are slated to run those newer trucks for two races here in the playoffs. But yeah, no, we're not currently building a super bullet for Phoenix or anything like that. But yeah, if I wouldn't say it's beyond the realm of possibility though.
Okay, thank you and good luck from Italy.
Thank you.
All right, Grant, thank you so much for your time. We wish you the best of luck in the playoffs, and that'll conclude our Q&A. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Kaden, can you hear us okay?
Yes, ma'am, I can.
All right. We're going to go ahead and go to questions. Friendly reminder, if you have a question, raise your hand. We'll get to as many as we can in the time that we have. And to kick us off, we will go to Chris Murdoch. Go ahead, Chris.
Hey, Caden. There's been a lot of noise surrounding you the past few weeks and all your changes. How do you sort of quiet all of that and sort of prepare to fight for your first drivers' championship?
Yeah, I feel like definitely a lot for sure, but I'm just a really, closed-minded person when it comes to strapping in a race car and, time to do business and win races, no matter what truck I'm in. So, yeah, I've been able to put that behind me. I'm really looking forward to running with this HFR group during these playoffs. I feel like Richmond was a really good race for us to do ahead of these playoffs. So, really looking forward to going with this group. Yeah, just been working really hard the last 2 weeks, getting comfortable with everything, thanks to Toyota and TRD and everyone at Helmer Friesen Racing for the chance to finish the year out and try to win a championship, not only just for myself, but for Stewart, Chris Larson, Halmar, and Mohawk Northeast.
Secondly, this playoff this year kind of fits your short track driving style with Bristol, New Hampshire, and even Martinsville there in the round of 8. How do you sort of tackle these upcoming races, and what kind of mindset do you enter this playoff with?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like we need to rack up as many playoff points as possible, because of how, different the round of 8 is, to get to the championship 4 with having the Roval, Talladega, and Martinsville, 3 completely different races and 3 chaotic races, I think. So if we can focus on winning stages and try to get playoff points, and try to advance and win, the next couple of weeks, I think that would be helpful for sure. And so that way we can go into Talladega and Roval and have something to lean on if we have to. So, yeah, definitely going to be crucial. I really think we can do good at Bristol, Loudon, and Darlington. Darlington's my favorite 1.5 miles, and Bristol's my favorite short track. So, looking forward to this round for sure, and hopefully be able to have a lot of points going into the last round.
Thank you.
All right, our next question will go to Lee Spencer. Go ahead, Lee.
Thank you, Amanda. Caden, how long did it take you personally to pivot after hearing the news that Nice was cutting ties with you?
Pretty much probably an hour, because I was just looking forward to, having the opportunity to go with HFR and, finish out the year for Stewart, Chris Larson, all those guys, to give me the chance to move on and try to finish this deal out. So definitely did not want to quit. Definitely wanted to find a way to finish the job for the rest of the year, for myself and for Stewart as well. Yeah, definitely not in the circumstances of where I want it, but right now we're just focused on trying to win as many races as possible and try to win that championship for this team and in Toyota and TRD.
The reason I ask is because you were having a breakout season, your first full-time season, and it just makes it kind of difficult, or puts you in a interesting situation.
Yeah, for sure it does. Like I said, I'm pretty passive person when it comes to, situations and stuff happening to me. So pretty much able to put that behind me as much as possible, and everything ended on a good note. So there's definitely no issues on any side for mine personally. So I think that makes it a lot easier for myself. So yeah, just it was definitely hard at first, but now that we're moved on, everyone's doing what they need to do, and we're just looking forward to the rest of these playoffs with this 52 crew now.
Thank you.
All right, our next question will go to Scotty Powell. Go ahead, Scotty.
Thank you, Amanda. Caden, thanks for joining us. I want to fast forward to Martinsville. Obviously, you have a short track background to you. Let's say you're going into that race and you're close to the cut line. How aggressive do you feel like it's going to be at Martinsville to make it to Phoenix to have the opportunity to win a championship?
Yeah, definitely gonna be tough, as it is all the time. You pass Martinsville races to get into the championship four. You've obviously seen what some people have done to do that. So yeah, I mean, whatever we have to do to win, and whatever we have to do to move on and go fight for this championship at Phoenix with Halmar, Toyota, and TRD. Whatever we have to do to put these guys in position to do that, we're gonna do what we need to. So hopefully before Martinsville, we have points to lean on. If not, have that win in the bank to go and go to Phoenix. So yeah, Martinsville is one of my favorites too. I love it. Sometimes it is chaotic, mostly because of how many laps we do and in a short amount of time. So yeah, it's definitely chaotic in that aspect. But looking forward to going to Martinsville at the end of the year. Hopefully, try to lock in going to Phoenix from there. That'd be really cool to have that redemption from in the spring.
All right, our next question will go to Holly Kane. Go ahead, Holly.
Thank you. Hi, Caden. I wanted to ask you what you realistically expect in terms of the intensity. Do you think it's going to be kind of a night and day thing here in the playoffs versus how the regular season is gone, or what are you kind of preparing yourself for?
Well, I think everyone has already, been going at their 100%, 110% throughout the whole season to try to win. So I don't really think there will be much of anything different as far as, chaos or restarts or anything like that. I feel like everyone has done everything they have to do to win races this year, especially to lock into the playoffs, the people who haven't. So yeah, I don't really think there will be too much difference. I think there will just be major difference when we go to Talladega and the Roval. But I feel like the Roval is going to be so spread out that it really don't be that big of a deal. So I think the only races concerning in that aspect is definitely probably Martinsville and Talladega. But I feel like the rest, all these other races, everything will. Everyone generally races with respect. We've been doing a great job the last couple of years shaping that up. So I don't think there will be much of any difference this year.
And my follow-up question too is, do you feel like somebody can beat Corey Heim for this championship? He's had such a great season. What do you think it's going to take? Do you see him as just the odds-on favorite, or do you think because of the way the playoffs are made up with, four people having that shot, what is your take on that?
Well, he's definitely a really dang good driver for sure. Those guys have been doing a great job all season. They've just had their stuff together. Corey's had his stuff together as long with that crew. It's going to be tough for sure. I feel like, for me, I'm just going to try to focus on ourselves and make sure we have the best finishes possible for our group. If that is not winning the race, we're just going to focus on us, and hopefully me and him from both can go to Phoenix and give Toyota a 50% shot of one of us winning that title and bring that home for a manufacturer standpoint. But right now we're just going to focus on ourselves, and he's doing a great job. So good luck to those guys. But hopefully we can contend for wins with them throughout the rest of these playoffs. But he's definitely going to be hard to beat for this point right now.
Thank you so much. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, our next question will go to Claire B. Layne. Go ahead, Claire.
Thank you, Amanda. Where do you feel the most pressure from, Caden? I mean, to be honest, I look at you and I think, man, he's so young. He's 22 and he's handling all this really well. You got Friesen's name on the door. You want to listen to him and advice, but you want to be your own guy. Can you come in and be the stealth? And where is the pressure coming from? And anyone says that they don't have it a lot headed into the playoffs ain't telling me the truth, right?
Yeah. I feel like the pressure is just really from myself. I expected to perform at a high level no matter where I'm at or what I'm in. So yeah, just the pressure will be really from myself. Jimmy and those guys are an unbelievable crew. They're so awesome. I'm so lucky to be able to work with them. Very laid back group. They really just want to finish the best we possibly can. If we can't win the race, then we'll try to do what we have to do to finish where we're supposed to. So yeah, Jimmy and I had a great conversation after Richmond on some things I needed to work on for myself. But yeah, the really good group. I feel like the pressure is just from me. Stewie and all those guys just want, to run as far as possible, but
really, there's not really an expectation other than we're trying to get to Phoenix as best as possible. So whatever we have to do that, we'll take measures to do. So we'll just focus on starting out the right foot at Arlington, and we'll go from there.
You guys are all so good and wouldn't be race car drivers if you weren't good at this, but it is something you learn is that you have the spotlight on you. I think there's no doubt that you feel like people are seeing what you can do and you know what you can do. So you're like, this is my chance in a way in the spotlight, in the playoffs. And in a way, the people that can hold that together and perform their best in that through the years are the ones that are really the champions, right? It's a whole mental thing, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You can definitely psych yourself out of it pretty easily if you're focused on points or something that you really don't need to focus on other than just driving the truck. And that's one of the things I wanted to focus on, at least for this year, is don't psych myself out. There's always, the next 8 races are not anything different from what we've done the first 16 or 17. So, yeah, just trying to keep that mindset and just run them like a regular race, and everything will work itself out the way they can. And I feel like Jimmy and those guys will put me in that mindset and keep me locked in as much as possible. So yeah, really looking forward to these next 8 weeks and try to progress as far as we can. Yeah, the season for me has gone good. I just have so many races I've had completely blown out of at the end of them. I felt like if we watched every race, I've had at least 10 to 12 races I've ran in the top 5, just haven't been able to finish there from circumstances. So, one of them being Richmond last week. So, if we can just have that luck turn around for us, for myself, I think we'll be just fine.
But do what you do, as they say, and good luck, okay?
Thank you.
All right. Our next question will go to Francisco. Go ahead with your question.
Hi, Karen. Nice to meet you. So you changed him last race after, we can say, kind of relationship with Nice. So I'd like to ask you if you see doing the playoffs with a different team as a challenge, as a double challenge, maybe. And so if you think that you will have a more difficult period of time than the other drivers, also counting that it's your first time here in playoffs.
Yeah, I think definitely first time in the playoffs will be different for sure. Along with a couple other guys that are doing their first playoffs as well. So I think that will all be challenging for sure. But like I said, I think I just don't psych myself out anything. Don't change anything on how I'm driving the truck or completely change my style, my racecraft, and all that. Obviously, the racecraft has to get better, but you do that after the race. But yeah, it's really good to have the tools I've been provided to make this change. That has made it less challenging, to be honest. So just thanks to everyone that's made that possible and made this an easy transition for me. And I feel like Richmond really showed that speed that we were able to transition quite early, and there was no issues regarding that. So yeah, just looking forward to the rest of the year with these guys and using the tools I've been provided for the last couple of weeks to try to win some races and go to Phoenix.
Also, I would like to ask you if you achieve good results here in playoffs, if something could change, something could move on for maybe a transfer to a top team for next season.
Yeah, right now, we'll have that stuff out in the next couple of months maybe, but right now we'll just focus on running the best we can for this 52 group and live out what Stewart was injured to do, and that was to try to make it to Phoenix. So right now we're just focused on winning the races that we can, and we'll have, maybe stuff will come up later, but right now we'll just focus on winning races, and all that stuff eventually falls into place later.
Okay, thank you so much and good luck from Italy.
Thank you.
All right, Caden, best of luck in the playoffs, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right, thanks for joining us. We will go ahead and go to questions from the media. And to kick us off, we will go with Chris Murdoch. Go ahead, Chris.
Hey Jake, you kind of enter into the playoffs this year in sort of a weird situation. It's your first attempt into the NASCAR playoffs, but you're also a part of a team where every driver on that team has won a Truck Series championship. How do you sort of apply that wealth of knowledge to this attempt into the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly championship pedigree at ThorSport. We've got a really strong team. And I'm the only full-time driver that hasn't won a championship. So I think there's some pressure that comes along with that too, entering the playoffs to get a championship. That way you're not the odd man out anymore. But yeah, I think that I can rely on my teammates, Matt Crafton and Ben Rhodes and Ty as well, for some advice entering this deal because they've been in this situation before and I haven't. So I'll use a little bit of their help and some of my guys have been on championship teams as well. So I think that'll all play into our advantage entering these playoffs.
You kind of mentioned it there with Matt Crafton. It was announced, a few days ago that he was retiring. What has it meant to have him as a teammate, and what have you learned from his experiences?
Yeah, it's been great to have Matt as a teammate of these past 2 seasons at ThorSport. His dad, Danny, worked on my quarter midget stuff when I ran quarter midgets when I was a little kid. So I've known Danny and Matt forever. Matt used to come to some of the races and hang out with us. So I've known him forever, and it's been really cool to be able to grow up and become his teammate in the Truck Series and be able to work with him. He brings a ton of experience every week. If I ever need anything, I can ask him a question, and he usually has an answer for me because he's been to that track so many times. So I'm really thankful to have him as a teammate, and I'm looking forward to finishing out the rest of the year with him.
Great, thank you.
All right, our next question. We'll go to Scotty Powell. Go ahead, Scotty.
Jake, like you were saying, first time in the playoffs. Is there any tracks? I know that Darlington's kind of tough, and then you go to places like Martinsville and Loudon. But are there any tracks that you feel comfortable like going in, saying like, I think we can take advantage of these tracks going in throughout the playoffs?
I think the big one for me is going to be Darlington. I feel like that's a place that I've been strong at the last 2 years, and so I think if there's one track I had to pick that I think is a good one for us, it'd be Darlington, and then also Phoenix as well. 2 years ago, I finished second at Phoenix, and that's a track I've always enjoyed racing at. So I think those two tracks would be the two that I think are the strongest and the ones that I'm looking forward to the most. But I think all of them, there's an opportunity to get a good points day, and I can see situations in which we run really, really good at all 7 tracks coming up.
And speaking of points, a points day, how aggressive do you get on those cutoff races if you're right there on the edge of advancing into the next round?
Yeah, I think it just depends on what the situation was. Like this week at Richmond, I was on the bubble, on the playoff bubble, and we ran a really conservative race, I thought. And that's what paid off for us there. So, it just depends on what the situation is and what needs to be done. But typically being super, super aggressive will put you in a bad spot more times than not, and that's why you're not aggressive every race. But I think just having solid points days is what you need to look for going into the round of 10 and the round of 8, and then come Phoenix, I think you just give it your best effort and try to have a really, really strong day at Phoenix.
Thank you, Jake.
All right, our next question will go to Lee Spencer. Go ahead, Lee.
Thanks for joining us. Kind of curious, what have you learned from the time that you've spent at ThorSport with Matt Crafton?
I think I've learned a lot. Just he's done it for so long, so I can ask him about anything, and he'll tell me what I need to know. So He's been in every situation I think you can be in the truck series, and just leaning on that has been super, super helpful for me. And that's the main thing I've taken away from working with Matt.
Appreciate your time.
All right, our next question will go to Claire B. Layne. Go ahead, Claire.
Thank you. I want to ask you, Jake, about what you want people to see of you, both ThorSport and the fans in the playoffs, as they get to know you as a championship contender. What's foremost on your mind that you want people to see about the way you race, the way you compete in a playoff situation, the whole shebang?
I don't know. I guess we'll find out what they learn about me. But I think one thing that I've done really well in late model racing. It's just been being consistent and being able to have solid runs week after week. And that's how I won some of my championships in the late model stuff, especially when I was younger. Like I didn't win all the races or anything like that, but just had really good consistency throughout the entire season. And that's what paid dividends for us in the points deal. And I think there will be some of that, even though the rounds are pretty short. We have 3 races at a time. I think some of that consistency will certainly pay off going into these playoffs.
So one driver will tell me, one truck driver, I asked everyone, will say the aggressiveness is less in the truck series. People are minding their manners a little more. And another driver will say it's still pretty crazy. As you enter the playoffs, what's your view on, and I don't know how a young racer who's only 20 years old figures this out, but how aggressive you be? Do you change in the playoffs? Do you expect it to change from other drivers in the playoffs?
I certainly think that the aggressiveness is always there, and the intensity is always there in the truck series, and I think it certainly will be, especially as we get into the round of 8, and come Martinsville when there's guys that are desperate to win to make it to Phoenix. I think that's when the aggressiveness is going to be at an all-time high. I think you'll see a lot of really bold moves being made there at Martinsville, and like we saw last year, guys moving each other out of the way for the win and spinning each other out and all that stuff. So I think the goal is to put yourself in a good enough position where you're not involved in that. You don't have to win going into Martinsville. You get a good bubble and you just need to have a solid day. Or maybe you win the Roval and Talladega and you don't need to even worry about it. So I think that is the goal going into this playoffs overall, is just not getting caught up in everybody else being aggressive and letting other people make their own mistakes,
Yeah, that's smart. Well, years from now, you're going to remember your first playoff in the truck series. So go enjoy it, because that's the key thing, and appreciate your time.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, Scotty, did you have a follow-up?
I do not. I'm sorry. I forgot to
No,
lower my
you're all
hand.
good. I just wanted to double check. Okay. Our next question will go to Francisco.
Hi, Jack. Nice to meet you. I've noticed that this season you have improved so much in consistency, and do you think that is the key for your success in achieving the playoff spot?
Yeah, I mean, I think that consistency was pretty important coming in, through the regular season. Obviously, maybe there's some spots where we could have been more aggressive and put ourselves in better positions to win. Maybe we would have had some more bad days in there, but there were some times where maybe being aggressive would have helped us win, and we wouldn't have had to be sweating it until the last minute to make the playoffs. So I think you can look at it both ways, but I think we did a good job of being pretty consistent. There were some crashes in there that I think everybody had, but that really hurt us in the points deal. So I think just avoiding that for all of the playoffs will be very important, and having just good solid runs. Maybe that won't be enough, but I think that's what we need to focus on, and maybe one day we'll have one of these races, we'll have a fast truck and we'll be able to run top 5, and compete for the win, and then that'll be a really good points day. But on those days where you don't have a good truck, you unload off the hauler and you're not close, I think it's important to make the most out of those days, because that's where that consistency pays off.
And that's your first playoff appearance. So even if it's a difficult question to answer, do you feel the pressure of being with the 10 best drivers in the truck series?
I don't know if there's any pressure with being with the 10 best drivers in the truck series. I think the pressure's off now because we've made it here, and now we don't have to compete with 30 other guys. We just have to compete with 10. But um, I think there's certainly some really strong drivers and really strong teams in this playoffs, and so I think it'll be important to be at the top of our game coming into this because I think any mistakes can cost you moving on to the next round.
Okay, thank you so much and good luck from Italy.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right, we're going to take our next question from Leonardo. Go ahead.
Thank you. Jake, as you head into the playoffs, what kind of mindset do you carry into each race to balance the pressure of advancing with the need to stay consistent week after week?
Yeah, I think kind of the same thing we brought into Richmond, at least for the first two stages, was just being, cautiously aggressive, right? So we brought a good truck, and I feel like we made the most of it the first two stages and gathered a lot of points, and but at the same time didn't make any mistakes. We were really careful on pit road and didn't have anything silly happen there, and I think that stuff's really important. So. Yeah, I think that's kind of the same mindset we'll bring into these 7 races, is just making the most out of what our truck can do, and getting the most amount of points we possibly can. And I think we did a good job of that at Richmond for the first 2 stages, and I think we're going to try to do that here in these 7.
Jake, looking back on this season, how would you describe your growth as a driver and the key areas you're developed to prepare for these playoff stages?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just being at some of these tracks again. Like even if we haven't run at Darlington again, but just running more mile and a half races and more short track races and just getting more experience in the trucks, I think has been the biggest thing from this season to take into the playoffs. Another thing that I think will be really helpful is I've worked with my guys now for almost 20 races. They were all new to me coming into the season, and I think that'll be really, really important to just have that chemistry with all the guys on my road crew and all the guys on the pit crew as well. Just having worked with them and us all meshing as a team really well now.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, that concludes our Q&A. Thank you so much. Best of luck in the playoffs.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
All right, we'll go ahead and go to the media for questions, and we will start with Chris Murdoch.
Hey, Ty. We just spoke to Jake, and he sort of talked about being the odd man out at ThorSport with the championship pedigree that you guys carry. What advice would you give him as the defending champion, as someone coming into their playoffs for the first time? And do you expect that relationship to sort of evolve throughout this playoffs?
I think the biggest thing is just not letting the moment get too big, right? There's a reason that the 13 group and Jake made the playoffs, and don't lose sight of how you got to this point. As soon as you kind of let the stage get too big and overthink it, that's when you make mistakes, and that's really the only thing that can really disrupt your playoff run is making a mistake, especially in that first round. History sort of shows us if you get stage points in every stage and finish in the top 10, that's all you really need to do to advance that first round. So, and I feel like the 13 group has done a good job of that. They've been, pretty consistent this season. And if they can just, limit mistakes, they're going to be just fine. So yeah, just like I said, not letting the moment get too big and just taking each race one by one and not letting the moment, like I said, get too big.
Secondly to that, it was announced a few days ago that Matt Crafton will take a step away from full-time racing starting next year. What has it been like having him as a teammate and working with Matt?
Well, Matt's been great, especially to me. He's obviously got a ton of experience in this series, has been there, done that, has won races, championships, and really was a great example of consistency all throughout his career.
And to have that guy to lean on throughout my career, especially at ThorSport, has been, I think, a really good thing in my development and understanding how to work through this playoff structure. Just having that experience to lean on at different racetracks that I've never been to before. He's a great guy, a great teammate to have in your pocket to lean on for questions, pertaining to, like I said, racetracks or different situations, and also going through the playoffs.
Lastly, for me, looking at this playoffs being the defending series champion and only one of two drivers in the 10 driver field to have a national series championship, do you approach this year any differently, having that championship in your pocket, or is there any more added pressure on yourself?
Yeah, no added pressure at all. I think having that experience to lean on really, I think is an advantage. Just having been there, done that, right? My team is very similar. I think only one guy is different from last year. And, so the biggest thing, like I said, about, the same advice that I'd give Jake, I give to myself, right? Don't let the moment get too big. Don't take yourself out of the playoffs. We see it year and year. All it takes is one mistake, one bad race, and you have to crawl out of a hole. And once you get into that hole, it's hard to crawl out of. You're leaning on other guys to also have a mistake. So, like I said, just stay in the course, taking it race by race, understanding, the point situation throughout the playoffs, and understanding what you need to do to advance, not necessarily just win that race. The goal might be different going into a certain race or going into the last stage of a certain race. So just being situational aware of where you're at and what you need to do to advance.
Great, thank you.
All right, our next question will go to Scotty Powell. Go ahead, Scotty.
Thank you, Amanda. Hey, Ty. Being the defending champion, a lot of these tracks, except Loudon and the Roval, you've raced at before. So I want to ask your opinion on both Loudon and the Roval. What are your approach being a seasoned veteran going to these new tracks that are going to be in the playoffs?
Well, I'm very excited to be going to New Hampshire. It's sort of the last track that NASCAR has gone to that, sort of are the original group of racetracks, ovals, if you will. That's kind of the last one I haven't been to. And it's been one I've always wanted to go to. It's, flat short track. And I feel like anytime Joe and I are together on a flat short track, it's hard to bet against us. So I'm excited to go up to New Hampshire. I've never really been up to that part of the country. So excited to get up there and go to another experience, another flat short track. So I like our chances, even though I've never been there before. I like our chances going in there. Joe has won there before with Cole Custer. So I'm confident we'll have a great package, and it's up to me to adapt as quick as I can during practice and carry that out throughout the race weekend.
And last question for you. Being named the I guess the apparent new heir apparent to the 88 team, which is the longstanding team there at ThorSport. What does that mean to you, being like in the first truck that ThorSport started using?
Well, first of all, it's an honor and really a dream come true of mine. And in 2021, when Duke, Rhonda, and Allison, gave me a job as an engineer and just a handful of races, I never thought it would, turn into, taking over the iconic 88 Menards truck, their flagship truck for really their entire existence. It's incredibly special. I'm humbled by, getting offered the opportunity to do that. And I'm excited to see what we can do with it. I really am, being a Wisconsin racer, pairing with a Wisconsin-based company is special. We have a lot of loyalty in our race fans up there. And I have no doubt in my mind that the Wisconsin race fans will be behind that 88 truck in 2026 and into the future.
Thank you, Ty. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, our next question will go to Claire B. Layne. Go ahead, Claire.
Thank you. I always look to the truck series. I guess I just always think in my mind that I love the old school racers. There were always racers like Johnny Sauter and Matt Crafton and, And you're a lot younger, at 29, but you're a classic racer because you've been through it all, even in your young career. What do you think we have a lot of old school racers in the series competing for the championship, and some of the young bucks coming have a different way of looking at things? But the truck series in my mind has always been the old school racers, not afraid to battle each other out and yell at each other on pit road. And you know what I mean? That was the truck series, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think, there's a few of those. I think this year's playoffs has a good mix of experience and sort of that old school feel, that old school racer feel. And then you get, a lot of the new school guys that are coming in. So I feel like, this year you get sort of a mix of both of those. Grant Enfinger is one that comes to my mind of sort of what you're talking about. And, I think, even though Caden Honeycutt is pretty young, guys racing all the time, late model stock, super lates, and does a pretty good job too. So I feel like he sort of has an old school racer feel as well, even though he's pretty young and new to these NASCAR trucks. So a lot of differences in the field of experience and sort of what school they come from. So it's going to be fun to see this year's playoffs pan out, and I'm excited for it.
And, with you racing your fourth time now in the Truck Series playoffs, do you feel like you are an old school racer in your heart, or that you transcended a certain time to be that guy? Because, the young guys come in and they don't really feel it's they're not entitled. They're not entitled to stand up too much, but you kind of see the transition in the series, right? Where do you stand? Where are you on that scale?
Well, I think I'm maybe a mix in between the two, just because um, I don't know that I could go and build a truck from the ground up, all right? But I'm very involved on the engineering side. So, and I think that kind of combines sort of that old school mentality with being involved with the race team and
Yeah.
and how your race truck goes to the racetrack, but without actually, doing a lot of that manual labor. So I sort of kind of put myself in a mix between the two, which I think is advantageous for me, having that engineering mindset and understanding what goes into the truck, what makes it fast, and working really closely with my engineer and Joe Shear on what package we need to go with for each weekend. Joe and I were on the phone for an hour yesterday on my birthday, coming up with a package we were going to go to Darlington with. So, but I enjoy that part of it. I thoroughly, I love being a race car driver, but I think just as much I love being involved on the engineering side and the setup side and having a hand in making my race truck go faster or making it feel a certain way that I want to feel. And I think that's a big advantage that I have over the rest of the field, being so involved on that side of things.
Well, happy birthday and good luck, and have some fun with it. It's always fun to watch you race.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
All right, our next question will go to Deb Williams. Go ahead, Deb.
Thank you, Amanda. Ty, this is the 10th anniversary of you being the inaugural winner of the Kawiki Driver Development Program, and you were talking about your engineering background and you enjoy that part of it. What did you learn in that program that is benefiting you now?
Well, I think just understanding how Alan Kawicki went about racing, just in general. I feel like he was kind of the pioneer for, being his own engineer, crew chief. Obviously he wore a lot of hats as well as being a race car driver. So just understanding, sort of how he went about his career and applying, some of those same mentalities to mine, I think is the biggest thing that I took away from being in that program. I was, born after Alan passed. So I didn't know a lot about the details about how he went about his career, but being a part of that program really enlightened me on what was possible and sort of the advantage that he created for himself by being so involved on the engineering side. And I've sort of, tailored my career around, not exact, but sort of took some of the things that he did and applied it to mine. And I feel like I've set myself apart from some of the other guys that I consistently race with or against on a weekly basis. So very thankful to have been a part of that program and to have won the inaugural season is still an honor to this day. And I still say that that 2015 season propelled my career to where it is today.
Thank you, and happy birthday. Good
Thank
luck.
you. Thanks.
All right, we will take one final question, and we will go to Francisco for that question. Go ahead, Francisco.
Hi, Ty. Nice to meet you. I think that's a watershed moment for ThorSport now, because, you know, Matt is set to retire at the end of the season. We have already talked about that. But also on track, ThorSport, if I remember correctly, didn't win a single race, even if all the full-time drivers were really fast through all the season. So, as a defending champion, how does it affect your mentality before the playoff?
Well, I think the biggest thing is I've seen a lot of gain in the 98 team over the course of the last 5 weeks. We had portions of the season. I think we fell back to out of the playoffs at one point, right? On the cutoff, on our looking into the playoffs. So I think for me, our race team has really crawled themselves out of a hole. We ended the regular season points in 4th, which it wasn't looking like it was going to be that kind of a season for us just a few short months ago. So for us to have kind of crawled out of that hole and put together some really consistent races over the course of the last couple months or so really gives me a lot of confidence going into the playoffs this season. We had a great run last week at Richmond. Probably should have won the race, and just didn't work out. It wasn't our night, but we're putting race trucks out there that are capable of winning right now, and that gives me a lot of confidence going into some great racetracks for us. So I'm confident that the 98 team is poised to make another deep run into the playoffs, and hopefully we can step our way through the next 2 rounds and have a shot at it at Phoenix again.
Okay, thank you so much. Happy birthday and good luck from Italy.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Ty. We wish you the best of luck in the playoffs.
Thanks. Appreciate it, guys. Thanks.